And bring you into there. All right. Good morning, guys. K6UDA, welcome to the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net, the live stream version. I don't know if there's anybody even in there this morning. Yep, looks like we might have some. I don't even know how many. I've got to fix a button here. Let's see. My viewers, I'm going to configure the stream deck. Give me a second. Viewers. I don't know what the hell is going on. Jason's in there. Good to see you, brother. And Jeff is in there. KD8IOK. Good to see you. Aha, James Hannibal. Good to see you guys. Lewis, a few. Man, awesome. All right, give me a minute. I'm trying to fix my icons here. Trying to fix this.
N7GRS early check-in.
Got you in there, Garrett. K6UDA.
Thank you, Bob.
Well, I can't fix that thing. For some reason, it doesn't want to fix. Well, anyway, guys, how's it going? I'm Bob, K6UDA. Welcome to the Southern Idaho Command and the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. And I got to find the right screen here. There we go. We kill that one. Run this. Okay. All right. I'm going to try to check some people in here. Jack Martin, KD9, PDY. Good morning. Good to see you guys in there. Good to see. Let me move this 17 in there. I got to keep moving this thing back. Kind of a pain in the ass. Nothing on FM. Alan, what frequency are you on? Where you say nothing on FM. I think if you go to the 442.00, you'll get something. So anyway, guys, my whole family's coming in today from all over the West. I've got my daughters are flying in with their kids. I've got one that is just landed in Seattle, ready to catch her hop to beautiful Twin Falls Regional Airport. I've got one that her flight is delayed from Sacramento, and my son And his kids, they're driving in because he won't fly. Let's see. What else? What else can we tell you? I don't know. How are you guys doing? 2 minutes till I officially start the net. Today, as you may have guessed, we're going to talk about money after a SHTF. Why do I do that all the time? After an SHTF situation, money, bartering, how to get what you need when the economic systems don't work. So, stick around. GRS is in there. I'm going to mark him as present. This is the last net of the year. Because I've got all my kids are going to be here next week. We ain't doing this. So I will post a little thing that says no net next week. And we'll pick it up the first weekend in January. Having a great season at Daughters, but really looking forward to getting back to Arizona. Yep. Jeff, I hear you. I definitely hear you. It's a good time. I guess next year we're probably gonna be out in California to do the honors. We won't be here. KD9YY. All right, I see a KD9YY. Got you in there, and I'll mark you in on the check-in sheet.
Thanks, Bob. KD9YY. Monitoring.
All right. It is 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock in the morning. And I'm Bob, K6UDA. Welcome to the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. This net meets every Saturday morning at 0900 hours Mountain Time on the K6UDA repeater located in Twin Falls, Idaho. And also welcome to the Southern Idaho Command. This is a digital-only net accessible via Wires X Room 40448, which is the Idaho Command. Also on YSF Reflector 56026, the YouTubers reflector, or the Hanson Butte 2-meter fusion repeater located, that's the Hanson Butte repeater here locally, 145.170. I don't know if you can pick that up analog. Local hams without any digital radio can also monitor and participate on the 44200 repeater in analog mode. The purpose of this net is the free exchange of information related to emergency preparedness, commonly known as prepping. We encourage deep dives into subjects related to food, water, shelter, personal protection, weapons, survival tactics, medical issues, communication gear, and techniques. I'm looking for subject matter experts to lead discussions on various subjects. If you have any material you'd like to present or discuss when you check in, please indicate you have a subject, i.e., like K6UDA with a subject. Although not primarily political, Discussion of relative political, cultural, or religious events are welcome in the context of situational awareness and survival. I'm going to let this drop. In order to give everyone an opportunity to be heard, I'm going to do check-ins and comments in the following order. Local repeater check-ins I'll ask for. Wires X check-ins I'll ask for. YSF check-ins I'll ask for separately. So if you're coming in off YSF, wait for me to ask for YSF because it delays a little bit more. And then I will be taking live stream comments and doing kind of third-party traffic for live stream stuff. So I encourage you to check in with your first name, your call sign, location, how you're getting into the net, whether you're local, repeater, Wires X, YSF. That being said, local repeater check-ins.
7 LTV on K7 PFP's FM repeater.
All right, James, we got you in there. KJ7 LTV, you're in. Any other local repeater check-ins? All right, KD7IYA, got you in there. Let me just get that entered. IYA, and got you in there from Rupert. Good to see you. Local, checked in. All right. Any other local check-ins?
There's no W7 Mike Delta Mike. If I think I'm right, the instructions for a local check-in means we're checking in with a repeater near us.
I'll put you in there. It's I do locals on the 3 repeaters locally in the Magic Valley. You're in Treasure Valley, correct?
Roger that. Sorry, new guy here.
Hey, no problem, my friend. We got you marked in. So we'll let's move on to Wires X check-ins.
To Echo Zero, India Echo Hotel. Greetings from the UK. Name here is Tim, Tango India Mike. Currently eating my own weight in mince pies and looking forward to your session today. Back to you.
All right, Tim. Great to have you from the UK. Other Wires X check-ins. All right, how about YSF? YSF check-ins.
Kilo Charlie 5, Yankee, Mike, Charlie. My name is Bob, out of Crystal Beach, Texas.
All right, Bob, got you marked in there. Thanks for joining us from Texas. Any other YSF check-ins? Are you guys able to hear everything on the radio? Let me know. All right. Hearing none. Let's see. From loose ends from last week, for those behind enemy lines in the People's Republic of California, the new emergency rule. It pretty much, the sensitive places got thrown out by a federal judge as unconstitutional. California vows to appeal that decision. But one of the other things moving forward in California is that California has instituted a new emergency rule. It wiped out 90% of the CCW instructors in the state of California, which means getting your CCW now is going to be extremely expensive and very, very hard. We can go into that. I could explain how, because I used to be a CCW instructor in California before I moved to America. But anyway, if you guys want to hear more about what's going on there, we can talk about that on a later date. Today, I wanted to talk about bartering and cash, gold, silver, lead, and eggs, I guess. I'm gonna let this drop for a second. All right. What is bartering? Bartering is basically the old trading system. It was in place for thousands of years before cash. And cash, really, guys, is only a symbol of value. Cash in it of itself doesn't have value, or our cash here at least. We went off the gold standard in 1933, and then went on to the standard of full faith and credit in the U.S. government. So 90 years later, there isn't much faith, and our credit is pretty much shot. So what happens when we spiral into, say, hyperinflation? Our economic system just collapses because we've bought our own debt. The petrodollar is no longer a dollar. It's a won or a ruble. What happens when our government transitions us into its digital money system, the digital wallet that they want to do, otherwise known as the Great Reset? I'm going to let this drop here. A couple of quick things that I wanted to run over are a few things. Well, actually, let me just keep going on my current train of thought. Let's talk about hyperinflation. Our central bank, it's printing more and more money every day, hundreds of millions of dollars. And it dilutes the value of the money until our money becomes absolutely worthless. And the examples through history and recent history are the Weimar Republic, pre-Nazi Germany, where people got paid twice a day, and they immediately took their pay went to the store before the prices changed, and it would take a wheelbarrow full of cash to buy a loaf of bread. Zimbabwe and Venezuela are two recent examples where hyperinflation, diluting their dollars or their pesos, completely destroyed the value of money, and everything revolved around barter. Some of the other things that we could be looking at are civil war or some other event like an EMP that triggers a total collapse of the economic system in our country, and that could drive us into something. And then there's something that I think is very much tied to the devil, and I'm gonna let Terry, our resident pastor, talk about the Antichrist system and the digital wallet. So Terry, if you're still up and around, why don't you take that one real quick? K6UDA.
It's KJ7RA. Are you picking me up okay, bro?
Yeah, got you in there just fine.
Yeah, if anybody's paying attention, especially those that are Christians, they know that there's been a big change in our country and the world with the so-called Great Reset. They're working towards a one world money system, which they are quickly accomplishing. And part of it, of course, is to crash America so that America won't be a hindrance to their goals with a president that will reject it. But the idea is to have a one world system where it will be all digital. And the future of that, of course, if you study the Bible at all, is that in the middle of the tribulation, there'll be a antichrist. If you're not a Bible believer, then just put up with me for a minute here. The antichrist will demand worship, respect, etc., or he will turn off your system. And in order to accomplish that, they will have to have a so-called chip in your hand or your forehead, where they can read your chip, which would tell them that you're in the monetary system that they've created, one world. And they will also demand a mark on your hand or forehead, which will be so-called the mark of the beast. The idea here is to force people to worship, of course, and to follow their plan. If you don't accomplish or go along with them, they will just turn off your chip and you won't be able to buy. This is something that's been in the makings for many, many years, and they now have the chip available. It's a size of a grain of rice, and people in other countries are actually using it even now to open doors, to pay their bills, etc. So it's not a matter of science fiction, it's here. So this is the future of that digital system, and it will come to pass. But it's not here in our country and working fully in the country yet. KJ7RAR.
Okay, thanks, Terry. Thank you for that. Let's see. Any of these scenarios, bartering is going to become one of the only ways that we're going to be able to trade for goods and services. Right now, we pay cash for goods and services. What are going to be important are things like food for bullets, goods and goods for services, open air markets, black markets, if you will. If something like that springs up, there'll have to be, I guess, black markets that'll spring up. Things that very quickly, well, you know what? Before I go into that, does anybody have any comments so far about comments or questions about bartering? Okay, hearing nothing. A couple of things that I had put together as far as things I would collect for trading. Canned or stored foods. Fresh foods and vegetables. So if you live in an area like I do where it's predominantly farms, there's going to be a lot of people that are growing their own food, are raising their own food. So fresh foods and vegetables. If you live near an ocean or a waterway, people will fish, and that stuff will be tradable. Other things that you might want to consider is alcohol. Both the rubbing alcohol kind and the drinking alcohol kind. Even if you don't drink, alcohol like vodka, rums will become very, very valuable. If you can't buy it in the store, there's going to be a lot of people that still want it. They'll trade for it. They might trade other things of value to get some alcohol. So if you have some on hand, even if you don't intend on drinking it, it makes fantastic trade bait. Other things that I'm thinking of are medical supplies and medications. A lot of over-the-counter stuff will run into short supply and run out very quickly. Feminine hygiene products. I think that is going to be a very, very important commodity to have on hand. Women are still going to have that time of the month. And if we're in a system where they can't get it at the local store, or if there are no local stores that are open, they're still going to need it. They're going to be willing to trade for it. Ammo, brass, and gunpowder, those are going to become very, 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 very valuable, and that'll be currency in the meantime. Knives, guns, hand tools, those building supplies and hardware, those will become very valuable trading commodities. Clothing and shoes, winter jackets in the in the winter, and then services. Whoop! Did I even go out over the radio? Oop. Wow, did I even go out over the radio that time? I didn't see my name on the list.
For a few minutes there.
You were talking about bartering stuff and clothing, and then you dropped.
Okay, I guess I gotta talk faster or have more breaks in there. Services for goods or other services, things like home repair, plumbing, electrical, well, if there is electrical, building stuff, wall repair, window repair, that kind of stuff is going to be very valuable. Medical services, if you have somebody in your neighborhood or in your area, doctors, I would assume, they're going to need to eat. They're going to need to take care of their families. I would imagine that they will trade. It'll become like the old days when doctors made house calls. I'm kind of hoping that medical professionals will trade their services for other goods and services. Security. military and cops, people with those backgrounds, will be able to trade their knowledge and services for food, for other goods and services to take care of their families. Cobblers, I think, are going to, and for those of you that don't remember what that is, they're shoemakers. I think shoes are going to get worn out a lot faster than they do now, and I think the need for cobblers is going to come back into fashion. And then, does anybody have anything to add to that list of things that you would definitely or try to collect?
W6 DUG.
Yeah, Doug, go ahead.
Yeah, Bob, you mentioned alcohol. People might want that. That's also something that they may need. If people are addicted to alcohol, that's something that's going to be I think is going to be a real feather in your hat if you have some alcohol, whether you use it or not. The other thing is cigarettes. People are addicted to cigarettes, and they're going to want them, even though at some point they're going to run out. But initially, I think cigarettes are going to be just like alcohol. There's people out there that just absolutely have to have it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't really thought about cigarettes too much, other than the fact that I know that they'll go stale. If if you bought them today and they sit for a year, I think the tobacco goes stale if I remember right. What about you guys? Anything for the list?
I would assume that they would go stale, but I'm telling you, there are people out there that wouldn't care.
That is probably true. So I'll add that to the list of things to collect for the coming collapse. How about anybody else? Anybody else have any other things that they would collect?
KJ7RR. Bob, did you mention medicine and stuff? I might have missed that. Especially things like Tylenol, aspirin, ibuprofen, things you can today buy over the counter. I didn't catch if you said that earlier. Over.
I did mention it. Do you have anything to add to the medications or medical supplies list?
No, I know prescription is going to be a problem, especially if you're taking medicine that's for pain. That's going to be a problem. But I was thinking about things like simple things that you can buy, like Costco, ibuprofen, Tylenol. You can buy them in bulk, and they will last. That was the only thought I had. Over.
Okay, yeah, I hear you there. That's a very good thing to have on hand, is all that over-the-counter stuff. Anybody else?
Wide entry.
2008H. Just maybe a little bit too wide the topic, but us that have been around a few years, the fact that any type of vehicle that has a conventional, old school, well, I say conventional, an old school means of engine operating in terms of spark plugs and points and condensers and carburetors, doesn't rely on any ECUs, and particularly the older diesel engines, which obviously even over there, guys the people are trying to phase out for obvious reasons. It's that if you've got stuff, you're in a scrapyard or something, and you took care to keep hold of some of the older technology, shall we say, I think you're probably going to need an army to defend it. I guess having the fuel's another thing, but some of these vehicles can run on a mixture of fuels, or maybe not the perfect grade fuel. So I don't know if that's something that's relevant to this conversation.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good thing to have on hand. Is and the only problem is a lot of the cars, they're specific on parts, and it one spark plug isn't gonna work for more than a couple of different models. So it's kind of hard unless you have access to, say, a scrapyard. But good ideas. Also, KC5, YMC, Bob, you had a comment?
Thank you, Bob. One of the things I was questioning is gold and silver and how that fits into a collapsed economy. It's hard to barter that stuff if it's in, like, instead of buying individual gold and silver coins, if you're buying the bars and the 1 ounces or multi-ounces products. And what's your thoughts on that?
That is an excellent remark, because I think post collapse, if we had a total collapse of the economy, you're gonna have a period where cash, gold, and silver, it isn't gonna be really worth anything, because honestly, you can't eat gold. Now, somebody that, say, has a Costco warehouse, and if they wanted to defend that Costco warehouse, and they wanted to take some gold and silver, because at some point an economy, a true economy, is going to spring back up, and gold and silver have never been worth zero throughout history. But I don't think they're going to have they won't have the value initially that we give them right now. I think eventually those values will come up or come back a bit, but people that have a lot to offer, they'll be able to afford to take some gold and silver, and those people, fortunately or unfortunately, depending upon your viewpoint, are going to be the new rich when we come out of this thing, or when we come out on the other end of whatever we come out of. And this is K6UDA for the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. A couple of really good comments here coming in on the live stream. Jeff KD8IOK, he says simple things like sugar and salt, they're also going to be a huge asset to have, as well as coffee. Coffee's going to be a good one to collect, even if you don't drink coffee currently. James KH2SR, he says, keep a mothballed VW Bug in the garage. It's easy to work on, parts are cheap, widely available, and they are everywhere for scavenging parts. Good advice there. That's if you've got a garage, if you've got a place to keep something like an extra car. But I think that's going to become the car that you'll be using. I'm going to let it drop. From Ron, KC3WBA, Barack and Michelle Obama are involved in the production somehow. Oh, okay. That was, yeah. They were directors or executive producers in this movie about a collapse. And I think it was called Leave the World Behind. I thought the ending really sucked. But I think they foreshadowed maybe what the government may be planning to do to us. Alan says livestock, butchering, preservation skills. Yeah, that's going to become extremely important. And especially if we don't have electricity and we don't have access to grocery stores or butchers. Butchering, I think, will become very, very important. Alan also says water. If you live in a place without water or limited water, being able to store it, move it, and trade it, I think would be very, very valuable. Bryant says there's a reason the small diesel trucks are not allowed to be sold in the U.S. They are real easy to repair and last forever. Diesel lasts much longer than gas. Yeah, it does kind of. I've got several diesel engines in several vehicles, and diesel does go bad though. Tim, KB9UPY says old cloth diapers would be of use. Multi-use feminine hygiene. Yeah, that's another great point, is old cloth diapers. As long as people have babies and kids, they're gonna need the diapers, and the Huggies are gonna go the way of the dinosaur very, very quickly. Okay, moving along really quickly here. I want to talk about setting up bartering systems or finding a bartering system. I know there's bartering clubs in different parts of the country. There are a lot of farmers markets in all kinds of cities. They're very trendy right now, and I think that those farmers markets can very quickly, or would very quickly, turn into bartering, more of a bartering society. But there are some very serious security concerns. I would be very concerned about bandits and thieves. Thievery is going to get out of control. I think for the most part, a lot of it will get dealt with very swiftly and very decisively, if you know what I mean. I'm going to let it drop here. But on a larger scale, if you have, I don't know how to set it up for trading right now. In the initial stages of a collapse, or initially after a collapse, I think open air markets are going to be it's going to be very dangerous. I'm kind of looking for ideas from you guys. What do you think as far as setting up trading? This is also where I'm kind of thinking radios, ham radio, CB, FRS and GMRS radios are going to become very important for setting up trading, or setting up impromptu little vendor areas where people can go and trade their goods and services. I don't know. You guys, I'm going to open it up. Any comments? Anybody want to take a stab at it?
KJ7RR.
Yeah, go ahead, Terry.
The concern I have, if there is a purpose EMT attack or an attack on the grid by people that have terrorists that have entered a country maybe through illegal means, would be that they would do it during the winter. And the reason would be if they want to try to kill as many as possible. We don't have farmers markets during the winter because they don't grow food during the ice and snow and the cold. So the food through that would not be available. More people would die without electricity that wasn't prepared for it in cold countries, areas. So I think that's something to consider. If there's going to be a planned, somebody saying, well, we want to get rid of as many people as we can. That's what I would do if I was targeting somebody like that, rather than the summer where they would have options. So just a thought. KJ something right now.
Yeah, good observation. Jeff, KDE8, IOK, he says he feels that trading will be a ways down the road. Initially, it's going to be panic and looting. Better guard your stash and not be set up for theft. And I agree. I totally agree with that. That is, initially, there's going to be a lot of that. But again, people, good, honest people are going to need a way to get some needed goods and services. And I'm thinking there's got to be ways to set up some kind of a barter system, even if it's, pretty on the down low, if it's in secret. And that's where I'm thinking the use of radios is going to become kind of important for that purpose. If Terry, you and I want to set up a trade, we need to have a way to communicate. You have widget 1, I have widget 2, or a service that I can offer in return, and we need to figure out how to make that exchange. This is one of the things that I think that digital radio is going to become very, very handy. I hear so many people. I was actually watching Tim Pool last night, who's a conservative commentator. And he had one of the guys that was on his show was saying, "Oh, I have one of these little Baofeng shortwave radios, and in the collapse, I can use that Baofeng." Well, we all know that all the guys like that don't even know what it is have a Baofeng because it's a $20 radio, and they're all going to be listening for any traffic, and they'll be gathering their intelligence. But if all they hear is static, and you're setting up your trades on digital radios with other people with digital radios, maybe fusion radio or DMR, who knows, I think you'll have a it went away. I think you'll have an added layer of security that comes with a digital radio. Jeff also says, let's see, that's where we have our inner circle, and we talked about it a few weeks ago. Yep. Those that are in your inner sanctum, you help care for. I totally agree, and that's really the main purpose of this whole net and why we're here, is because we're trying to build that type of a community where we know who we can trust amongst ourselves. All right, looks like on the live stream I've got 22 people on the live. We got 12 thumbs up. Does anybody else have anything on bartering? Anything? A question, a comment, something that I didn't cover? Anybody? Wow. Nobody wants to talk about it.
20IH returning. It's obviously it's a fascinating and equally frightening subject that you're discussing, Bob, and it's becoming that saying. I'm very conservative. That saying of all the conspiracy theories are coming true. So it's like uncharted territory, isn't it? And if you're from the outside like I am, listening to some of the stuff, you go, well, that's wacky. But it's not wacky. It's very real, and you're addressing a very real scenario and very real probability, unfortunately. So the only side I'd say is that the whole subject is it's how do you, it's taking something that is so inconceivable, but now planning for something that's be real, and there is nothing that's off the table. So it makes the challenge even greater for everybody to identify what will be the reality, and depending on where you live in the world during the pandemic, with short supply of various things, that's just I think everybody's had the short supply of toilet paper, etc. It shows you how fragile society is without adding all these other elements into it. So it's a very useful topic, and it's obviously becoming very important. It's just hard to wonder where to start sometimes, isn't it? Back to you.
Yeah, Chris, that it's true. I mean, it's a scary subject. We've all been used to buying and selling, doing our market a certain way for our entire lives. And now we're looking at the possibility of going back 1,000 years in technology, and it's a very scary proposition. I have a question for you, being from the UK. What is going on right now in the UK that we in the States should be concerned with? Because I know you guys are way ahead of us in this whole illegal immigrant scheme that they're doing. The Muslim takeover and the coming collapse. What say you?
To Echo Zero, Indirect Hotel, returning, the name Tango India Mike. It's a very good question, Bob, and I am quite pleased you asked that question, but of course, being radio amateurs and the theme of this particular thing, I'm going to choose my words carefully, and these opinions are my own, but I think uncharted territory really sums it up. I mean, I'm in my early 60s. I don't feel it, luckily, but I am. So I grew up in this country. I'm born and raised here, and I grew up in the north part of London. So even back then, it was quite what we call these days, or what's brand multicultural. And probably the time slot here, I'm trying to think out how I can answer that question the shortest possible time. I'm watching the countdown timer. But I've seen, as have any of us of a certain age, we've seen changes in our own country, and I've very much seen that here. And most of those changes are not for the better. And if you consider that, I don't know the percentage, but let's say 90% of the police officers or law enforcement in this country are not armed. Most of them might carry a taser. Correction. Probably 50% of those that don't carry a firearm will have a taser. It's becoming more popular, and I think we're on the fairly late version of it. So that if you're trying to keep law and order using the old system of respect and doing the right thing and being steady away, that doesn't work anymore. I'm going to drop in about 40 seconds. That doesn't work. So it's probably a strange one answer. We're policing all the problems we have in this country now, in my personal opinion, using the logic in some respects from 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, where the policeman said, don't do that, and they didn't carry on. So now, we're trying to police in the 21st century in some ways, with the almost 20th century mindset in terms of people will do what they do. I'm going to let it drop. 20IH returning. So that's just one problem. So if you, probably in the last 10 years, it's accelerated. So yes, we have had, unrealistically, we've had uncontrolled immigration. And there was probably some very clever people who tell you where that's come from, how it's come about. It has, it's very similar to what France is suffering in some ways. A lot of it is probably payback, maybe wrong term, is connected to our former colonial history. France and England, UK, have a long colonial history. I seem to remember we did have a piece of real estate not too far from where you are, but I think we were encouraged to give it back, or hand it over to the current tenants, shall we say. But so that has driven some of the elements. Definitely European Union when it started, and I remember when it started, it was a very positive thing, but it had limited outreach, limited scope. That has been, in my personal opinion, been taken over by a lot of the conspiracy type ideas that are going around with the World Economic Forum, etc. Effectively, the system developed whereby the remit of being in the EU spread out. So you imagine the foreign country telling your country you have to abide by the set of rules that we've decided on. Unelected politicians, leaders, have effectively steered that to happen. So you can't enforce your own laws, you have to abide by ours, and those laws might not necessarily align anywhere near yours. Where originally it was it was called the common market, so we could buy and trade goods, and that's about where it left. So a lot of things have happened from then on. I don't want to hog it any longer. I could carry on and try and direct it a bit more, but I think I'll end it briefly by saying that what you're experiencing, my perception of what you're experiencing there, and I know what I'm experiencing here, they're pretty much the same thing. They're just on a different scale with different dynamics. So all the problems you're alluding to in your political system, we have the same here, and to the point where it's really not much different at all. And I don't know what the answer to that, and I think what the answer is something that nobody wants to think about, but it's quite scary to see where that's heading. But we are, both sides of the Atlantic, so much alike in terms of what we, as the common interest people here, are currently looking at. Back to you.
Wow. Thanks. Thanks for that. That's guys, this is really what we're all about. And this is what I envision after a collapse. We may be getting intel from a DX station, from somebody in another state on HF. Let's say the internet goes away. Right now we're able to kind of do this in a closed system very easily on the internet, but we may be doing something like this on HF in the future, provided people have their HF machines still functioning. I don't know. Anybody else? Does anybody else have anything for the good of the net on bartering, on current events, whatever? Okay, well, in that case, I think we're at about an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and close the net. I want to thank everybody for participating. We have 8 nodes on Wires X. I don't know how many on the YSF side are listening. We've got roughly 20 some odd people on the live stream talking about a lot of things over there on the live stream. This is really, really good. I think this is a great net. I'm very happy to host this and to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. With that, I'm going to say for next week, I'm not going to run the net next week. Like I said, I've got family. My whole family is coming into town today, and we're going to be all doing family things for the next week or so. And so let's plan on the first Saturday. Let me pull up my calendar here. And we'll plan on the first Saturday after the new year, which will be the 6th. January 6th will be our next big date. So with that, I'm going to close the net. I'll put it out for last minute check-ins or comments, and then we'll go ahead and close the net. Last minute check-ins or comments. K7GHT, go ahead.
Just have a last minute comment. Remember, gentlemen, stay strapped or get clapped. 73.
How you gonna power your radio systems beyond the service life? And you know, in a situation like that, you'll have things going to be down. There's not going to be any fuel. So if fuel runs out, you'll have panels that are light. But when the batteries, you know, their life, and then think about what you have. Kind of hard to come thing. I don't suggestions, you know, but something to think about. You know, a typical battery lasts about 5 years at the most, and so just to be able to power our radios, you know, we would need something that would hold up for a long period of time. Just like you know, you say, you know, going back some years in technology like that, you know, we're going to really be struggling just for the basic radio necessities, right?
All right, KQ4RTB, we got most of that. It kept cutting in and out for some reason. I assume you're on a YSF, on the YSF.
That's correct. Via hotspot, yes.
Okay, for some reason that wasn't working so great, but got you in there. And let me confirm your call, KQ4R Robert Tom Boy, my cop fanatics.
That's correct.
All right, very good. Anybody else? And we got K7GHT. I got you in there also. Anybody else? Last minute anything?
Just want to wish everybody very happy Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, however you want to call it, and stay safe. And thanks very much to Bob for making this happen. And we look forward to joining again for the next one. But stay safe, everybody. And season's greetings to everyone from the United Kingdom, 2 Echo 0 in Eureka Hotel.
All right, Tim, thanks for that. Any final comments on the radio side? Okay, with that, I am going to close the net. I want to thank you all again for being here. This is awesome. I am really enjoying doing this net. And with that, I close the net. Hereby close the net and return all the repeaters and all the wires X and YSF to their normal quiet operations. Guys, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. Happy New Year, and I will talk to you all next year. This is K6UDA closing the net. All right, guys. Well, that's it. What do the real date to remember? 5:30. So what is Bryant? What is 5:30? What's the significance? Okay. As Wires X starts to thin out and we get back down to the normal two nodes that are hooked up here all the time. Yeah, Bryant, what's the significance of 5:30? What's on 5:30? Ah, yes. Yep. Yeah, I totally agree. All this January 6th, and now I'm not on the radio. I could just talk. All this January 6th bullshit that it's an insurrection, that's bullshit. I can come out here and just talk to you guys now. Hello, it's just me. Just complete bullshit. Guys, between you and me, if January 6th was an insurrection, they would know it. It would have been bloody. It would have been ugly. I think half the legislators in that building, if they were even in that building at the time, I think they wouldn't be here today if it was a real insurrection. It was not a real insurrection. It was a protest, and the left has taken that and they've run with it. I don't know what to say. Man, my color balance is so far off. You guys got anything? Don't hold back. Yeah, well, you know what? There's probably going to be one or two FBI agents that are going to watch this after a while. If they could make it through, if they could absolutely make it through to this point, they're absolutely watching. Or they're going to watch the playback. Who knows? But, nothing goes unnoticed these days. You got to remember that. They are watching everything. You guys got anything else? Okay, well, I don't have anything else then. Let's see. I guess we'll just say, I'm going to say 7-3. I'm going to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you guys... I would say Happy Kwanzaa, but that's a made-up bullshit. It ain't even a holiday. Not a real holiday. You guys want my honest opinion? That's Who would have thought we would be where we are today 5 years ago? Oh, are you? Yes, absolutely. 5 years ago, well, actually, I thought we would be here 5 years ago. I've been preparing for something, and I didn't know what, for the better part of 20 years. I didn't start out with everything. I've built what I have over a period of time. One of the big things, Happy Festivus. That's freaking awesome. Happy Festivus. I'm going to go have coffee with George Costanza after this, or his dad. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk that now, that it's happening now? I am a firm believer that we are watching the end times prophecy come to fruition. I was never a big Bible reader until fairly recently. Terry got me really thinking about it. I go to his Bible study classes, and he really got me thinking about this, and thinking that we are here to see the end times. Those that don't get raptured, wherever that comes from, or in the beginning, in the middle, at the end, whatever you believe or not at all, we're going to be looking at the end times. We're going to be looking at the Battle of Armageddon. We're going to be looking at unbelievable destruction. I don't know. And I think it's coming within our lifetime. I'm not so much scared of it as I am. Well, I'm not so much scared of what's coming for me, but for my kids and my grandkids. I really do. I really fear what's coming. And I hope that they're getting right with God. I'll see them all this week. But who knows? And the big reason I am here in Idaho, was to give my kids and my grandkids a landing zone. They all call me Daddy Doomsday. They have for years. I think, though, that they might end up all here. I don't know. And if I got to build them all little houses or structures, or bring in more RVs or campers or whatever onto this property, that's what I'll do. I'm not afraid of doing the work. I'm not afraid of taking care of the kids. I would love to have them here. Right now they're all worried about their own, make a living, do all the things. Things are still normal. We're not uncomfortable yet. We're just not uncomfortable. And once that day hits where we as a nation become uncomfortable, That's the day that well, I think some people hope for, because that'll be the day that people are ready to rise up, get in the streets, do what needs to be done. I think it'll also be a very scary day, or a scary period of time, because there's going to be the mass lootings, the thievery, the shootings, the lawlessness. Police in this country will have no power if they even show up. Remember, police and military in this country, they are people too. They have wives, kids, families. And what do you think they're going to do? Are they going to, some of them will, some of them are going to show up to work and do what they got to do, but are they going to take care of their families first or your family first? I wouldn't expect, as things progress, I wouldn't expect law enforcement or the government to help us at all. I think most law enforcement at some point are going to go, I'm not showing up to work. I am taking care of my own. I don't know. Let's see. Magnetic, hang on, from JK. Magnetic excursion. Don't know what that is. Solar micro nova. Pole shifting. AI. 1984. Terminators. Rise of the final wave. Whew. I don't even know what most of that is. And that scares the shit out of me. Let's see, James. I'll be collecting nice things from those who try crossing my property line during the after times. There you go. There you go, my friend. I know my family comes first. Lifelong public servant, but my family wins. Yeah, absolutely. Guys, I did 28 years in the law enforcement business, and I knew there was going to come a day where I wasn't going to show up to work. If that's what it was, my family was going to come first. If I could go out and help out in my own neighborhood, in my own backyard, I would do it. But man, no way. No way. You're going to have very few cops. And I feel sorry for people in the freaking cities. Holy shit. That's going to get ugly. That's going to get real freaking ugly. The lawlessness is going to be off the chain. I don't know, man. I don't know. What was that one movie where everybody's running through stores? Was it? God, it was a movie, and they had a cop runs into a store, and everybody thinks that the cop is there to help him, and no, he's looting for his family. He's grabbing shit to take care of his family, just like everybody else is. So I think that's how it's going to end up, especially if we've got a bright line event. If it isn't a bright line event, I think you'll have some time to get out, some time to prepare. But man, if we got something like an EMP or one day they start dropping bombs on us, it's going to be so ugly. What area of California was I in? I was in Northern California, east of Sacramento, east of the state capital of California, in the Auburn area. And so Mr. Trek fan says, watch Miracle Mile. Okay. I'll have to give that a watch. All right, guys. Anybody else got anything for the good of the order? Put it into the comments, and we'll get to it. Otherwise, I'm gonna wish you guys Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy New Year. I will see you next time on January 6th. We'll set it up for. Send me an email with a subject you'd like covered. Wow, I'm almost thinking of doing a bright line event versus a slow collapse. I don't know, man. I don't know what to talk about. All right, guys. We'll see you then. I am Bob, K6UDA, and I'm out of here. 7-3, guys.